And that was when I first realized in my life that I did not have the ability to live well. Because, I mean, I was in sexual immorality, I was in alcohol, I was in tobacco. I was living a very sinful life, and I decided that I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to become a good Amish person. And I joined the church, and I tried my hardest, but I just could not. There was nothing within me that could break those strongholds. I was out in the barn just doing chores one night and doing my thing, and all of a sudden, this lyric line started coming to my mind. And so I sailed out of the barn and upstairs and sat down at the dining room table and wrote out. And that was my first real song. I mean, I had dabbled with some writing, prior to that, but that was my first real song. I mean, if the Bible says to not do something, like adultery.
Yeah.
If he says to not sleep around.
Yeah.
Well, that's not because he doesn't want you to have fun. It is because it will destroy your life.
Yes.
So it's not about, somebody being legalistic. It's simply about not destroying your life.
Yeah. So Amos Raber, musician and a family man. Not sure what else you do. You have a few steers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've got 5 kids. Is that correct?
Yeah, 5 children.
Yeah.
And the steers are my therapy. So
yeah. So kind of what does your life look like now? And then I'd like to kind of go into growing up Amish and how that was.
Sure. Well, so now, me and my family, our oldest is almost 18 and our youngest is 9, and we travel around the country, Mexico. Well, it's been a couple years since I've been in Mexico, but Canada. And travel and do, sing together, live music together. We travel and coach. And,
So who made the coffee? Which one?
Logan, the electric guitar player.
Okay. It's very good coffee.
I mean, those of us that know our music would for sure know Logan.
Okay.
So he plays the electric there. But
is he the oldest?
He's the second.
Oh, okay.
He's the second, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we can kind of get started in what your home life looked like when you were growing up Amish and where that was.
Yeah, so I grew up in Davis County.
Davis County, Indiana.
Yeah, Montgomery, Indiana. Just right outside of the little town of Montgomery is where I grew up. Grew up on an 80-acre farm there, and pretty typical Amish setting.
Just
we
agricultural.
Yeah. We farmed with horses and milked cows by hand.
Oh yeah.
Put up 1,000 bale of hay and.
Got plenty of sweating in.
Oh,
just normal Amish life.
Yeah, absolutely. Get done with 1,000 bale of alfalfa hay, and mom makes some ham sandwiches and chocolate milk, and then you go in the pond and go swimming.
No kidding. I didn't even. I guess my life was quite a bit different from that. I grew up working in a bakery, but
okay.
But my mom and dad grew up. There's more and more that the Amish are getting away from. They are doing that because they can't make a living. Yeah, they can't make a living.
Yeah, it is less and less. I mean, I remember years and years ago, whenever when I was, even just in my single digit years. I remember my dad's dad kind of grieving over the fact that the family farm is seemingly kind of going down the down the road. And I think the main thing was that people just could not afford to do it anymore.
That's the commercialization of it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, after it's been so commercialized, it'll come back after a while.
Yeah.
If after it gets heavy enough. But now we can kind of go, growing up Amish, did you have Jesus? Was Jesus present in your Amish life, or was that something you thought about or talked about quite a bit?
Sure. I would say that's a really tricky question because, we would have had a knowledge of God. Mm-hmm. I very much had I would even say a healthy fear, probably a little bit an unhealthy fear of God, just growing up. But we were very much, aware, went to Amish school, went to church. We heard Bible stories, so we were very much the the missing element was the personal.
Yeah, the personal relationship.
Yeah, that was the missing element. It was more like we are here and God is way out there somewhere kind of thing.
Yeah, and don't do anything wrong. He's going to get you.
Yeah, I hear some people talk about that. I don't know that I would have grown up as much with that as much as it was just distant.
Yeah.
Just distant. I don't know that I ever saw God as this, angry guy in the sky kind of thing. It was more just distant.
Yeah. I guess that's another thing that I kind of learned was, the personal relationship aspect more of it. But yeah, it was a little bit more good. But then your youth, like how that looked like in the Amish.
Yeah. How old are you?
22.
22. Well, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So you were born in 2002.
Yeah.
That's the year I got saved.
That's awesome.
So which month?
February.
Oh, isn't that something? I actually got saved in August of that same year. So you would have not been born when we went from 1999 to 2000.
Yeah, no.
That was a big, big deal. And so you ask about my youth, okay? So I'll go down a little bunny trail here for you. But if that's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Go for it.
So I had this, I had a fear of God, and I wanted to know God. Like I really did. Even as a young boy, I remember, just going about my chores and stuff. And I had a desire to do what was right, but I didn't know how to connect with this God. But I had that desire. And as I watched all of my friends and even my brothers as they turned 16 and they got into the to the party world, I saw their life just get loose, and I feared that. And I grew up in a church where the bishop, his name was Ben E. Wagler, and nothing critical about Ben, but his understanding was that the end of time would come prior to the year 2000. I don't know where he got that, but he was convinced of that, and he would preach that regularly, and that planted a fear in my heart that just haunted me. And do the math.
No kidding.
I'm turning 16 in 1996. That means I'm going to be in the depths of my party years between 1996 and 2000. That only leaves 4 years. And I remember going to a bedroom and getting on my knees. I don't know if I prayed out loud, but my heart's desperation was, let me die now while I have some hope, or come now so that I'm not in my Rumspringa when you come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep.
I was incredibly fearful. And so anyway, but it all went away. All the fear left when I turned 16 because I did exactly what I didn't want to do. I turned into a party animal and went to the parties and did everything that I shouldn't have been doing because I had no strength. I was not born again. And so I had no power against sin.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, I sobered up a bit as we got closer to the year 2000 because I got really, really scared. But then, yeah.
Of that reality.
Yeah.
I heard quite a bit about that. And I guess also another reason I wanted to talk to you wasn't so much telling your story, it was also because I wanted to learn.
Okay.
But that's, so partying like that, I think that's an atmosphere that's kind of expected, especially during that part, Rumspringa.
Yeah.
You just kind of go out and you party.
Yeah.
And then did you leave from there or what caused
You mean leave the Amish?
Yeah, leave the Amish.
Yeah, so actually I need to set this up a little bit maybe. So backing up to 1999, I was in a serious relationship and likely was to get married. But then I didn't. I actually broke up with her because I saw that year 2000 as this wall of fear coming toward me. And I remember, I think everybody remembers where they were. It's the turning of the century, but, so all of my buddies were going out to party that night, it was New Year's Eve of that I mean, of 1999, but I stayed at home. I was scared out of my wits. I mean, it's crazy, but it was a holy fear that was happening. I mean, it was a good fear that was happening because I knew I was in sin, and if I died, I was going to be in trouble. And so I don't think that's a bad fear. I think that's a good fear to have.
That's good. That's good to know that. Yeah.
And so I was in my bedroom and I took the Bible, which was Old and New Testament, it was German and English. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, somehow I just have to connect with God. So I took the Bible and I opened it and I tried to read a couple verses, and I think I may have said the Lord's Prayer. Of course, it was in German, Uh-huh. And I laid in my bed there, and I had a window that was open to the west. And so I kind of opened that window a little bit. It wasn't super cold, but I was laying there, and the clock struck 11, and then it's 11:01, and then it's 11:05, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, it is right down to the wire now, and it came down, and this is at midnight. Uh-huh. At midnight, I heard this deep rumbling, and I nearly jumped out of my skin. But what it was is there were some people right down the road were putting off some fireworks. I thought it was the rumblings of the trumpet. Here we go, But anyway, so it ended up being fireworks. So then when I came out of that, it was like all things were off now. And I went on a downward spiral. But during that, the further down I went, the more I knew I was lost. So I started asking questions. And I would ask my parents questions, and they didn't know the answers. And now, as a dad to a 16, 17-year-old, I get it. Like, you don't know how to answer all these questions. And so I started asking questions, and they were good questions. For instance, there was a guy in the church, that was being shunned, but it wasn't a sin of why he was being shunned. It was a preference. And even at, 20 years old, I was able to see that, okay, this is not a biblical sin. This is a preference. Baling hay with a motor instead of with a ground-driven, you follow me? And so I'm sitting there thinking, I see this guy baling his hay with a motor, and I see these guys having such a bad attitude about it, and they're all gossiping and talking, and it's tearing families apart, and I'm sitting there going, which one's in the wrong? Aren't they both in the wrong?
Yeah.
What is the point? Why is this? So it was those kind of questions that got me to seeking. And so that kind of led into my leaving that.
Yeah. And see, those questions, I think that's where a lot of the Amish shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, is they, let's say a ground-driven mower.
Yeah.
The reason they don't have the technology might have been at the time to be so we have to work harder, or so it doesn't make it too easy on us and we don't get lazy.
The shunning of convenience.
Yeah. Well, exactly. That might have been the original intention, but then as time went on, people start calling it a sin to do that thing.
Yeah.
And it never was. And then overemphasizing it, and then once you're being honest with yourself and you look at it, you're like, well, this doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it really that causes a lot of rebellion and just no respect for it at all, because there's no understanding behind it.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that's what I needed to respect something, is to understand it.
Yeah.
And how did you leave?
So during that time, and I kind of lose track of the exact years and stuff. And people, if they haven't read my book.
Oh right here.
The story's in there.
Yeah, it's right here. Actually, it's Plain Redemption.
It's on our website.
On your website. Okay, what's that?
Yes, it is bygraceministry.com.
And he sent one. It's very good. I also liked your story about addiction and how you overcame it.
Yes.
But I thought that was good. That would be good for a lot of the ex-Amish I know out from my area to hear your testimony on that too then later. But yeah.
So during that time there, when I was about 21 years old-ish, no, maybe 20 years old, I decided I'm going to settle down and I'm going to get baptized. Mm-hmm. And so, no, honestly, this was when I was about 18 or 19, and then it was after that, because that was one of my efforts to prep myself, for the coming of Jesus, before 2000. So I was about 18, 19 is when when I joined the church. And that was when I first realized in my life that I did not have the ability to live well. Mm-hmm. Because, I was in sexual immorality, I was in alcohol, I was in tobacco. I was living a very sinful life, and I decided that I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to become a good Amish person. I sincerely wanted that. And so I started joining the church, and I went through the whole process. I grew out, I got a haircut. I had longer hair, and I got a haircut. I grew out a beard because I wanted to do it well. And I joined the church, and I tried my hardest. But I just could not. There was nothing within me that could break those strongholds in my life. I tried so hard, and I simply could not do it. Those things. Now, could I do it in public? Yeah. To a certain degree, I could do it in public. But if I was going to live like that, I had to be willing to live with a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's called hypocrisy.
Yeah, and anybody can do that. You just build a different personality.
Exactly.
And then you just switch out.
Yeah, you have two people.
Simple. Yeah.
And so I joined the church and did the best I could, but I just kept falling away, and finally I gave up all hope, really. Mm-hmm. And then, by this time I'm about 21, so now I'm old enough to buy my own beer, and so I'm drinking a lot more. And I decided I'm going to leave the Amish. So I talked to my parents about it, and they, obviously they weren't happy, but they were not saying, they weren't throwing down concrete walls and saying, if you're going to do that, get out. They did not do that. Obviously they were not thrilled about it.
Yeah.
But I went, to the local beachy church there, and I was there, I don't know, several months, and, sitting under the preaching there. And then when I was about 21, I decided I'm going to leave home. I'm going to move to Florida. So I had a pickup truck, and I had just started driving semi-truck for like a feed mill. Uh-huh. So I quit the job. I got my pickup truck, a half-ton Chevrolet that I had, and put all my belongings in a box, and I headed for Florida. Yeah. I had literally maybe $50 to my name. And so that was my process of exiting not only the church, but also, the community. So.
Yeah. And that's really interesting. You just talked with your parents about it.
Yeah.
About leaving. See, I left, of course, I left in the middle of, it was Sunday. Nobody was at home. Nobody knew. I left a note.
Oh, wow.
I went that far. Also, my parents didn't throw down concrete walls or anything. So
sure.
that's a real blessing. But is that maybe the reason that you went to Beachy? Something because they were open to you stepping out, or
it wasn't really their request as much as it was mine. I was so apologetic, for leaving. I had a lot of fear of leaving. Because I thought, it was kind of ingrained in me that if I left the Amish, that was going to be the end of any hope for me. And so I thought if I went to a church that was fairly close to the Amish, maybe that would still be acceptable. And so that was kind of my goal.
Behind
it.
But so the Beachy Church, how was that? Was that similar to the Amish, or did you?
A lot of similarities. They would have preached, in English.
Okay.
And I can't honestly say that I got a lot of conviction out of the preaching. Nothing stands out to me, 22 years later. Nothing really stands out to me. And I remember preaching. I remember messages that, like some of the Amish preachers preached when I was a little boy.
Yeah.
So messages have always stood out to me because I learned by hearing.
Yeah. See, I think that's true too, because they don't just kind of ramble about something, but it's a directed message about a certain thing. That really helped me too. Oh yeah. Another thing I wanted to touch on, which I almost flipped when I read this in your book, was your first song that you ever wrote.
Oh yeah.
What was it?
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
did you know I grew up singing that song
Okay.
in the school programs and stuff like that. I never knew. I didn't know you wrote that song.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, this is like some old, long-standing hymn.
Yeah.
And-
hey, it comes from the 19th century, you know?
Oh yeah, right. Way back then,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 1900s.
Right.
But that I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And so is it edited or a little bit maybe from the first version? You just Amish boy, and you just wrote it down.
Crazy. I was 17 years old. I had just got my first guitar, which is this one right here.
Okay.
If you can see it in the video there.
Yeah.
I had just bought that one at a pawn shop. I had asked my dad if I could. I was 16. I asked him if I could get a guitar, and he gave me $300 in cash and said, "You can go." So I went to a pawn shop and I picked this guitar up. And this is a little side story, but
Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually had it for about 2 years, and then I sold it because I wanted a better one, and I didn't like the better one, and so then I wanted to buy this one back because I'm also very sentimental, and the guy wouldn't sell it back to me, but I kept an eye on him and the guitar, and about 5 years later, 6-7 years later, he got married Amish. And I'm like, now I can get this guitar back. But he still wouldn't sell it to me. But finally, about 10 years later, he actually agreed to sell it back to me. So I bought this guitar twice.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had just started singing. But yeah, I was 17 years old, 16 years old, somewhere in there. And I was out in the barn choring one night. Maybe I had those ages wrong, the book would say.
Yeah.
But I was out in the barn just doing chores one night and doing my thing. And all of a sudden, this lyric line started coming to my mind. And so I sailed out of the barn and upstairs and sat down at the dining room table and wrote out. And that was my first real song. I mean, I had dabbled with some writing, prior to that, but that was my first real song.
It's a very good one too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just like if you sing it seems to be very in depth. But it seems like that's where it comes from. It's just those moments of complete, just mishap, like just complete, just happened, and it just kind of just from just pure imagination.
Well, and I think it was a foreshadow of what God wanted to do in my life because a couple years later, when my wife passed away, during that time, I wrote a lot of songs. That was that was my therapy. So I wrote a lot of music, during that time, and now the message of that song lines up very much with who I am as a man, and so I think it was like a foreshadow of where God was taking me. I don't know.
Yeah. Could we play that song, The Time, on the podcast?
Of course.
A little. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I'll put it in there. That'd be fun. So. I also wanted to kind of touch on how did you know of singing? What started your interest?
Sure.
Or like how did it fit in your life?
So this connects back to your roots. You are from Iowa, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when my dad, there were, let me see here. There were how many children? They always say 6.5 dozen. No, 2.5 dozen.
2.5
Yeah,
that's what we had.
So there are 8 children.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we said that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
So my dad and then his younger, maybe some older siblings, but my dad and 3 or 4 of his siblings were just little tots, and they had older brothers, and that were in the youth. Well, during that time, there was some guys from Iowa. They were known as the Iowa Boys. The story's in the book.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
And so these Iowa boys, as my dad tells the story, they had a car jacked up in the rear end as they did back then, and some rumbling pipes on it. And these guys were like super cool guys, and they came to visit, my dad's older brothers. And these guys knew how to sing, and they were doing what was not being done back then. They were singing harmony.
Oh yeah.
And harmony was frowned on back then. 4-part harmony was not a thing back then.
I see.
Oh no, it was. It was seen as worldly. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's seen as a worldly thing. And so these guys, I mean, they were able to do it because they were in the youth and it was a bit looser. They were a bit wild. So their thing of being wild was singing 4-part harmony.
So it's good to have that the standard then. Like
Exactly. So these guys would come and they would sing 4-part harmony. And my dad and his siblings around him were just like in awe. And they're listening. And so Grandpa, he wasn't sure if he wanted his children learning this. This is like a new worldly thing, you know, but it's singing. So how much could be wrong with it? But you know, the way Dad tells the story is that over the next several months, it was hard, you know, for Grandma and Grandpa to get any work out of them, because every time they could get a chance, they'd huddle in a corner somewhere and practice singing, and they all learned how to sing harmonies. And so, obviously, they all grew up, they all got married, they had children, but they never stopped singing. So to this day, today yet, my dad's 76 years old, and him and his siblings and their spouses, they still go out and sing for people.
That's awesome.
And so I grew up sitting on my dad's lap with my aunts and uncles around the table, and they're all singing, you know, different harmony parts or whatever. And, you know, I'd sit on my dad's lap, and he's a bass singer. Have my uncle over here that's singing tenor, and my aunt's singing alto, you know. And so my love for singing was just it was bred into me, you know.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
And so then we also, we also sung around home. You know, we milked cows by hand, and we would sing while we were milking. You know. Now, you know, we also fought sometimes, right? But
but squirt milk at each other and stuff.
I mean, you know, singing was just a part of
part of it,
part of who we were. So.
And see, I also enjoyed that especially when my dad would, you know, I really resonated with your story of when, you know, my dad would get out the harmonica and start singing. Yeah. I loved it, and also your struggle with learning how to that thing's got in the way, but your struggle with learning how to sing the harmonica. I just never went all the way because I liked it, but it wasn't enough of a conviction there for it that I practiced and I got Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That's about it.
Well, the way I learned was I blew on the thing till I about went insane and made everybody else insane. But where I really got it to trigger was I always had it in my pocket. And whenever I would go somewhere, you know, run an errand, or I was in the buggy and I would go somewhere, I always had it with me. Then, you know, whenever I was by myself, I would play. Or if I was out mowing hay, I was playing this thing. And it took me what felt like forever, but I finally learned it.
So what did you learn that it takes to learn something? Like, so what does it take? It takes
perseverance.
Dedication.
You gotta stick with it. Yeah.
And just no matter what, like you're mowing hay, you're playing harmonica. Yes. You're going somewhere to the neighbors. Who knows? Wherever you're going, you're playing harmonica.
And
that's what it takes to learn. So if you actually want to learn something, your time. That's another thing I've realized is you just make time and you just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you learn. But I guess we can kind of go to your first marriage and you kind of say what happened there.
Sure.
That way people can kind of understand that part.
Sure. So meaning right down to the accident you're
talking?
Sure.
Just kind of an overview a little bit so people can understand that part of your life.
So we got married in December of 2002. And we went our honeymoon. And we got home and we were moving her stuff, you know, from her apartment into the house that we were going to rent. And it was a foggy day in the month of December. You know, it was foggy. I mean, what had happened is we'd got a lot of snow, and so there was a lot of snow on the ground, and then it warmed up, and that created just a lot of fog, and it was Anyway, so we were on a little county road that we weren't really familiar with, and we actually went through a stop sign and got T-boned by a pickup truck, and she was brain dead. And so, day and a half later, about a day later, the doctor came to us and said, "There's really no hope for her." You know, so as a young husband, I looked toward her dad. I was like, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "Well, you're her husband." And boy, that was a lot of, that I felt the weight of that.
No kidding.
But it was very much they were in full support. They were, they were going to support either way. So I asked for one last visit. So I went back to the room and, spent several minutes with her there. And then we took the life support off, and within minutes she passed away. So, yeah.
How long were you married? Total?
The book would say for sure, but I think 11 days total. What I do remember is that the day of the funeral was New Year's Day of 2003. And it was exactly 1 year from our first date, which was New Year's Day of 2002. So first date to the night of the funeral was exactly 1 year. So, yeah.
I was just trying to process what, like, I know dark times, and I know going through dark times,
Sure.
but that's just a whole nother level. I have no idea.
Sure.
How that would, like, how did you process that? What happened after that?
Well, to note for sure that, I was just freshly born again. I got born again in August of that year.
Of that year.
And her, it was October 6th of that same year. Which, by the way, my spiritual birthday's coming up here in a couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
In 2 days from now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, coming right up. So,
Yeah.
I was brand new born again, and we were surrounded with a really good body, church, and they were very, very supportive, and I am a believer in the local body.
Yeah.
I think having a local
Community.
if it hadn't been for that, I don't think I would have made it. I really don't think I would have. Was God good? Well, of course He was good, but there were people who had skin on. That were there to care for me. And
that's the whole idea behind God right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a little bit of a hang up, people say, "Why? I believe in God. I don't need to go to church."
Yeah.
There is a whole missing element there of just, being able to have people around you and
Yeah. Well,
so,
and how God works, He teaches you how you should behave, which is
Yes.
helping others.
Yes.
And then you help those other people that are struggling like that, and then you teach them how He wants you to live in this world, which is also helping other people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's a continually moving community of these people that are not from this earth, that are just conquering with love.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been the whole idea, all
Yeah,
along.
yeah, exactly. It's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And you cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. I have learned the huge benefit from having a church community. It's yeah.
Oh, the first couple days obviously were really, really, really difficult. I remember I had some good friends that stuck close by. You probably wouldn't remember a guy they used to call Singer Dave Miller, do you? He passed away in 2016.
Did he record anything?
Yeah.
Like, did he release anything?
Yeah.
It could very easily be. I've listened to quite a bit of
In
stuff.
2016, he would have passed away of a heart attack. But, him and I, were kind of on a similar spiritual journey around 2001 and 2 and 3 there, or 2. And I was really good friends with him. We actually sang together. But he came and stayed with me for about 2 days. I remember during that time that, I would go to bed or, but just be laying there, just drawn up with just like a feeling of desperation right here in your chest. Like, like the pain and the sorrow and, just the agony. I don't know, that sounds almost too strong, but just painful. But now looking back, like I am so glad that I walked through that, because that was all just a part of the molding and, the shaping that it took to make me, honor the Lord. And, it was all a blessing. Now I look back.
Exactly.
But then I would, I always say that, if you'd have told me then, when I was sitting there with my good friend Dave and she was lying in the casket, if you'd have told me, God is going to make something beautiful out of this, I'd have been like, whatever,
Yeah, what are you talking
But
about?
now when I look at the picture of my family, I've got 5 children, got a beautiful wife, and I think God really does make beauty out of ashes. I could have never envisioned this family that I have now. But God is good, and He is a redeemer.
Yeah.
That is who God is.
Yeah. And what I take from that is like, when we're going through hard times, when we're going through things, if you're born again, you're a believer. It might not make sense right now.
That's right.
Just zoom back a little bit and see, okay, God's going to make something out of this.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Even if my life is taken or if I die for some reason, He's making something out of this for somebody. It's a work, and He's working things. It's all works together for good for those who love Him.
Yeah. We seldom see the big picture.
Yeah,
God,
yeah. We can overlook it so easily.
I mean, we see this right now, right here, but God sees a big picture. Like right now, Margaret and I are in a journey that we've been walking for about 5 years. That's been very, very difficult. It's been very taxing, and I could see it as honestly, I could kind of become bitter about it. Just like this, this has cost us so much. But then over the past year or two, God has opened my eyes to what all He has brought out of this. People that have gotten saved through it, and people that were just kind of, doing the, like go to church thing, are now serious about their faith.
Yeah.
And even me personally has really grown through it. So God doesn't waste pain. God doesn't waste pain. And man is scared of brokenness. Man sees brokenness and they walk away because they think it is ruined and it is useless.
Yeah.
And God doesn't see it that way. God sees it as He comes and, He redeems the situation. And so God is always doing something, in the background that's bigger than what we see.
Yeah. And if you're broken, He can make you into something.
Absolutely.
If you're not broken, He can't really change you.
That's
because
right.
you're kind of set in your ways.
You got your own thing going.
Yeah. You don't have time for God.
Yeah.
And so that's why He turns to the lost and the broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, we can kind of go into your addiction and how you got rid of your nicotine addiction, your smoking habit.
Yeah.
That really resonated with me. I think a lot of people try to quit so often.
Yeah.
And they just never, they just keep failing and they just keep failing. And like, okay, when's there real hope? Like, where's the hope?
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah.
How can they actually quit? Like, what does it take?
Yeah. Well, it's really, really strong. So I started smoking when I was probably 6 to 7 years old because I grew up around it. And so I had been smoking for years. And so, when I got saved, the night when I got saved, I drove out of the driveway and I threw 2 packs of cigarettes out the window, and I'm just like, that's it. But that didn't work. I was driving semi-truck at the time, and I would make it for half a day, and I'd pull over and buy a pack of cigarettes and a lighter, and I would start smoking. It was just like, it felt so good, and then immediately I felt so dirty and rotten and wicked. I'm just like, oh man,
Yeah.
And then I'd pull in and I'd throw them in the dumpster. The next day I'd do the same thing over again. And by now, we'd gone through the death of my first wife, and now it's 2003, and I'm getting called from all over the place. People ask me to come, to share my testimony and, to share my story. And I would drive to communities, and I'd share on a Friday night or a Saturday night or even a Sunday night with big crowds of people. And then I'd drive home, and I'd be back to work on Monday morning. And what began to happen was I would be on my way home from somewhere. And I think this happened 2 or 3 times. But I had this strong urge for a cigarette. And the one night, I know exactly where I was at, where I was coming from, and right where I was at, I pulled over and I bought a pack of cigarettes, and I felt like such a hypocrite. Here I am, I'm telling all these people about Jesus and how good He's been to me and how He saved us, and I go into a store and I buy a pack of cigarettes and I'm smoking. I'm just like, and so I get home late that night, and the book would have all the details, but kind of the roundabout way is that God really like spoke to me clearly, through the Holy Spirit. And he said, if you keep doing this, I will no longer fill you. Like, I cannot fill you and bless you. I mean, if you're giving yourself to this. That was my journey. I'm not putting that on anybody else, but that was my journey. And I remember walking into my little house that night, and I fell on my face right on the kitchen floor, and I cried out to Jesus. And I would, like this today, 22 years later, this would scare me. But I made a commitment on my face that night that I would never smoke in my life again. I would never do it again. And to this day, 22 years later, another cigarette has never touched my lips. And that's by the grace of God.
No kidding.
By the grace of God. I had another victory that was very similar. I think I talk about it in the book, but that was huge for me because I had tried quitting between 16 and 22. I bet I had tried to quit probably a dozen times, and I could not master it. And but by God's grace,
yeah, no kidding,
yeah.
By grace,
yes,
ministries,
that's right.
.com.
That's right. Yes.
That's what I really liked, and I also liked your song that you released, by grace.
Oh yeah.
I love that one. We listened to quite a bit of your music actually. Like
okay.
we listened to a lot of that Christian country and
sure.
And that type of music, but then also writing the book.
Yeah.
How did that help you dealing with a lot of things? And did you how did that work?
No, not.
What was the reason behind it?
Yeah, well, and that's a really good question. So, I mean, people might read the book and think that, perhaps, that's how I process, but it's not. I actually didn't write the book until 2017.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right after, the accident and the funeral and all of that happened, people said, Amos, you need to, excuse me.
Yeah.
Said, Amos, you need to write a book. And I thought, I'd love to do that someday. But I wasn't ready, and I'll tell you why I wasn't ready. I had two big issues that I didn't know how to write about. One was my sexual abuse.
Oh,
and
yeah.
One was, and the other one was leaving the Amish. I was not going to write a book, until I could figure out a way to write, about those two things so that I could be honest and not throw any certain person under the bus. And so I wanted to write in a way that honored the Lord. And, I also wanted, to honor the Amish culture.
You didn't want to come out looking like you're throwing spears and knives.
Exactly.
It's not. It's peace and love. Yeah.
So I waited and waited and waited, and time also just got away. But in 2017, we were in Mexico. We were on tour. We were in Mexico, and we were on the way home. And we had a young man driving the bus at that time with us, and I had been thinking about it, and all of a sudden, I'm just like, time's here. I'm gonna write a book. Yeah, the time's here. I'm gonna write a book. So I took my laptop and I went to the back of the bus and I sat on the bed, closed the door, and I sat on the bed and I started typing. And I just typed and typed and typed and typed. And anyway, there's quite a bit to the story, but that's how I started writing the book. But it was really, really fun for me because, actually, I may have to say this. So when I first finished the book, I had 17,000 words. And I sent it to a lady down in Nashville that, I had talked to. And she got back with me and she said, Amos, I love your story. Your story is amazing. But she said, when I read it, I feel nothing. All I'm reading is facts. She said, you need to write it so that I can feel what you were feeling when you lived everything that you're talking about. I didn't know anything about writing, but when she said that, it was like, boom, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I started over, and when I got done, I had 70,000 words. So I went from 17 to 68,000 somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's all I needed to hear. So, in order for you to feel something when you read my book, I had to enter into each joy and into each pain. And so what that meant is everything I wrote about, I laughed and laughed and laughed. And then I also cried and cried and cried.
No kidding.
Because I mean, I talk about the passing, of my sister. When I I was 16 years old, or when I was 12 years old when she first got cancer, and watching her lose her hair and almost faint, she couldn't walk. I mean, in order to write about that, I had to go back and relive that. And it was so good for me. It really was. But I cried so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a pretty emotional person anyway, but it was a really, really good journey.
Yeah.
And so I took about a year, was it 8 months, maybe somewhere in there to write the book. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. See, that's another thing I've kind of, I journal.
Okay. Yeah.
And that helps, I don't think that's the way, like a lot of people say, oh, that's the way you process. Yeah, I do, but I do it a lot quicker now because I have that. I could process it without it.
Sure.
But it just speeds up the process. Like, and that's also like, that's how I dealt with my past.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was writing it down and reliving it.
Yeah.
But it also like, it puts you in a ditch for a few days.
Yes.
Because you're just, the depression, you're just working through everything.
Yes, you have to enter into it kind of.
You kind of relive it, and I don't know, it kind of releases its hold on you after you get it out, and you see it for what it is. Yeah, it's very healthy.
Yeah.
And I've journaled for about a year and a half now.
Okay.
And I've journaled for the first 8 months. I journaled 3 pages every day.
Oh wow!
I can tell, but it's just been so good for me.
Sure.
But yeah, we're a little bit over.
You're fine.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
It's 12.
Okay. It is. Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, we're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
But yeah. So also, I didn't know if you wanted to say a little bit about how you dealt with your sexual abuse, because I know that happens quite a bit, or quite a bit of people have had experience with that in the ex-Amish. So, how did you deal with it?
The sexual abuse.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't deal with it until after until after I gave my heart to the Lord. That's when I needed to deal with it. But I go in quite a lot of detail. In the book, because Amanda was, which was my first wife. She was also sexually abused a whole lot, like a lot more than than I was. And so in our dating time, in that short amount of time that we dated, probably 6-8 months, we went to counseling together. And boy, I tell you what, that was, if I were to describe it, I would say it'd be like opening a barrel of snakes. It was just, it was so hard.
Yeah.
It was incredibly hard. But through it, we learned that we have to look at this stuff. We have to deal with it.
You cannot push it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I would have started to work through it. But I would say I didn't find healing until after she had passed away. And then I was in a prayer group from our church that I was going to there. And we met every Tuesday night for prayer. And it was a serious prayer group. It wasn't this kind of thing, where you get together and, pass community gossip, as way of prayer requests. This was a serious prayer group. And I wanted to, I think a lot of healing came through that process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So you can, And also just what kind of counseling do you look for?
Well, there are numerous styles, briefly, there is the style that says, okay, so, you were sexually abused. So you open the Bible and you find, 10 or 12 scripture verses, and you just say those over and over and over and over, and somehow that's going to change everything. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Then there's a kind where you say, well, I'm going to, every day or, come the time that I feel angry, I'm going to get me a pillow and I'm going to picture that this pillow is that person. I'm going to beat the pillow. And it sounds funny, but it is a real thing that people do.
Yeah.
The other thing is, just positive attitude.
Yeah.
Positive. Just hey, praise God. I'm going to move on, praise God. And that's all good and great, and it works for about 3.5 days.
Yeah.
And then you're right back down in the ditch.
Okay.
So the thing that I recommend to people is that you ask someone that walks with you, that helps you go back into the past, not so that you can bring it out and lay blame everywhere, but that you can go back and you can enter into that. You can feel the pain, and then you can learn how to take that pain to Jesus and say, Jesus, would you bring healing to my heart?
Yes.
That is that's how I found healing, and found like a place of rest. I think that is the best way. I mean, I have a number of friends, that are in counseling, and I think it's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah, and see, what you just described is kind of what I went through, but I wouldn't have described it that way because I didn't really know that I could put it in words like that. But you described it very well. Like, I relived it, and then I just took it and I laid it at the cross, and just asked Jesus to heal it.
Yeah, the thing from our background is, forgive and forget, and don't bring up the past.
Yeah.
Just don't bring up the past. Well, the goal is good.
Yeah.
I think the intent is to move on.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is if you don't deal with your past follows you.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually dictates a lot of what you do.
Yes.
And so if you can hold still long enough to turn around and deal with your past, then you can move on into your future in a much more, healthy way.
Yeah, no kidding. Because any little thing that's causing you shame is just sitting there.
Oh, yeah. Shame is huge.
Yeah.
Shame and the fear of rejection, those are, especially in our culture, those are really, really.
Yeah, no kidding.
Shame is huge.
Especially when you're by yourself. That little thing is just, if you leave it there, that's why you cannot leave that there.
Yeah.
It just,
Yeah, guilt. There is, there's good guilt.
Yeah.
Not all guilt is bad.
Right.
But guilt says that let me see. Guilt says that I did something wrong. Shame says that I am something wrong.
Yeah.
And so the difference, because shame goes for the core of who you are. And when we're made in God's image, it's very hard for us, but we have to separate what we've done from who we are.
Yeah.
And once we recognize that we are made, in the image of God and after his likeness, and that he blessed us. That's the very first thing he did for us in Genesis 1:27, is he made man in his image and he blessed them.
Yeah.
And so that is who we are.
Yeah.
And so to be able to go find healing so that we can live out of that identity is huge.
No kidding. See, that it just sounds like that's exactly what I went through, because I used to think I was, nobody. I'm not worth of anything. I'm just, and it never could be either. And come to realize we're all equal. We're made in the image of God. We're something real, tangible, and it not just like I just happen to be this poor, miserable failure that that's always going to be that way, no matter how hard he tries.
Yeah, one of my early counselors, I used to say, well, I just don't feel like I'm normal. And he'd say, stop it. Normal is just a setting on a dryer.
That's
so that was one of the early times where I had to stop believing a lie.
Yeah.
And to say, whatever. But that was a big one for me. I'm just not normal. I am strange. I'm weird. I'm stupid. Whatever. But anyway.
Yeah. And then you met your wife, Margaret. That is your wife now.
Yes.
A little while later, wasn't it?
Met her. Well, that's a long story too. But,
it is.
Met her through a mutual friend, actually.
Yeah.
And then we got married in 2005.
Yeah, and she kind of went through the similar thing as you did. Yeah, with losing. It was her boyfriend. Was
she was not married, but he was. He was a pilot.
Yeah.
Just a small plane. And there was a mechanical error, and the plane went down in the neighbor's field.
Yeah. So God brought the two of you together, and now you have a beautiful family and a nice place, and it's awesome.
Absolutely.
I just love the story. It's just like I read that, and you got me. I shed a few tears. Like,
okay.
it was very real.
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's like any sort of message that you'd like to give to the people listening.
Yeah. So I would encourage people, that have come out of our, like the Amish, or what I see now. I've actually been out of Davis County, and I have been out of the Amish for longer than I was in, in the Amish. Mm-hmm. And what I see people doing that concerns me is they come out of the Amish and they think everything that they've experienced is useless and bad, and it's their enemy, and they want to get rid of it as soon as they can. And what I've seen happen over and over and over is they get rid of all of that, and they throw the baby out with the bathwater, the old saying, and then in 10 to 15 years, their family is completely destroyed. Now, that's not because they left the Amish. That is a lie that can set in. Like the critical Amish people can say, well, that happened because you left the Amish. Yep. The answer to that is no, that's not true. Yeah. The reason that happened is because you lost all structure in your life.
Yes.
And so my own personal journey was, when I came out of the Amish, I was headed down that road of just getting rid of everything. Yeah. And I got really, really convicted. And I went on a journey of this probably took me a year and a half. I don't think I talk about this in the book. Yeah. But this probably took me a year and a half or so. And I took every doctrinal thing that was within the Amish, and I took one at a time. Yeah. And I said, okay, what is this? Yeah. What does it mean?
Yes.
Does it have only here and now value, or does it have eternal value?
Yes.
And I said, is it biblical? Or is it a preference?
Yes.
And I don't know how many there were, but this probably took me a year and a half. And I went through every one of those things, and I weighed them out with Scripture. And some of those were biblical that I could not get rid of. There were other ones that were neither here nor there. I could keep them if I wanted, but there was no biblical. But I mean, there were some of them that I kept simply because it's good, healthy structure for your life and also for your family. And so, does that make sense?
Yes. Like, I love it. Yeah.
I really, really, really encourage people, don't take Amish culture off like a cloak and think, praise Jesus, I'm going to walk with Jesus. Amish is of, whatever. Yeah. I look at that and I'm just like, please be careful. Please be careful. Because I love our heritage. Look, like I asked my boys, I asked my children here, some time ago, I said, think of the world as tribes. You have different sects of people. You have tribes of people. Yep. We happen to be, of the Amish Mennonite tribe. Yep. And I said, if you could choose any tribe in the world, if you knew that a big tornado was going to come through, it was going to demolish your place, you're going to lose all of your food, all of your housing, all of your buildings, and it's going to turn everything upside down, which tribe of people would you like to be in when that happens?
No kidding.
Huh?
Yeah.
And when I ask myself that, I don't have to think about it for about 3 seconds, and I know exactly. Because my people have some of the best value systems that I know of. Now, with it comes some negative things. Yeah. But so does with every culture.
No kidding.
And so I say to people leaving the Amish, be careful. Be careful that you don't, take every brick out of your building of life and toss it over the cliff.
That is such good advice. Like, I went through that journey myself. Yeah. Just very, very lately. Like, it just very lately. Yeah. Of realizing that a lot of it was not bad. Yeah. There was a lot of good things. Yeah. Well, when it came down to ask myself the question, where do my children have the best chance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of becoming godly people and thinking for themselves. Mm-hmm. And, okay, well, I realized, like, a lot of people just in the English world, how children, you can raise children good. It's not like you can't, you can't, but it's a lot quicker that they can go astray. There's a lot more things there for them. Mm. And there's not a church culture or anything. There's no sort of church structure. Mm-hmm. And after I just was real honest with myself, it's like, okay, there's something good about this because people are getting raised up with common sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're not replaced with nonsense from your song, Common Sense. I love that song. That's a good one. But that just got me to thinking, okay, what values were good? And then, I thought that structure was a bad thing, but it's not.
No.
You're either intentional about your culture or you're not.
Yeah.
You have a culture. You have a structure.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the one you have.
And also, people want freedom.
Yeah.
So they come out of this legalistic, structured, where you're told exactly,
Close everything up.
Close everything up. I mean, how long are the strings on your covering? Whatever. The list goes on and on. So they come out and they want freedom. Jesus gives us freedom, and he does.
Yes, he does.
But freedom without boundaries is bondage.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So freedom without boundaries is bondage.
Yes.
Jesus never calls us to live in this loose, wibbly-wobbly freedom that has no boundaries. He calls us to a very structured life.
Yeah.
And it's not to get saved. Whoops.
You're okay. That's good. It's sound effect.
Boom. Yeah. Living within, the boundaries, of the Scripture is not so that we, I actually preach a message on this. So, we don't do good works to get saved. Mm-hmm. We do good works because we are saved.
Yes.
So, but good works are a part of us as believers, but it is not to get salvation. It's because we are saved. And so
I listened to it. It's you want a faith that works. Not a works.
A works salvation or a salvation that works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
That's
yes,
it. Yeah. We listened to that one. We looked up.
That's been years ago, though.
Yeah. I just listened to it because I listen to a lot of podcasts at work and stuff, and so I thought that was an interesting message to listen to. And it was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that Christ gives us a structured way to live our life, and it's good. It's the best plan in the world.
Exactly,
because it's from God.
You don't ever. If the Bible says to not do something, like adultery.
Yeah.
If he says to not sleep around.
Yeah.
Well, that's not because he doesn't want you to have fun. It is because it will destroy your life.
Yes.
So it's not about, somebody being legalistic. It's simply about not destroying your life.
He's telling you what's going to destroy your life.
Exactly.
He's trying to help you.
Yes. Yes.
And you're like, well, I don't want I don't want boundaries.
Yeah,
but
I'm free, right?
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but freedom without boundaries is bondage. So we need to understand that.
That's an awesome. I love that. I love that. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I guess this is conclusion now, and I just thank you so much for coming on. And it was just a lot of fun talking to you and your story. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just appreciate what you do. That's really an inspiring story. The book is inspiring, and the music, and your children, they're very nice, and the coffee they make.
Yes.
Or Logan. Right. Yeah. Okay, I got it right. But thank you very much for coming on, Amos.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. So if you want to send me a text or get a hold of me, or talk to me about this podcast, you can get a hold of me at 641-954-5726. And also, we just got a phone number for people to call in and listen to episodes. So you can give this out to your Amish friends. They can just dial this number and call in, and they can listen to the last 10 episodes. And that number is 641-204-8800. 641-204-8800. You guys have a wonderful week. Be blessed.